Hello! Before I start, I'd just like to introduce myself shortly. My in-game nick is Twister, and I play Quake Left Duel for about 1 year actively. The match I'm going to analyze today took place during the group stage of the Dreamhack Winter competition in 2010 between Noctis and Rapha, and the loser of this game would be getting knocked out as they both already had lost to the Hang. Finally, before I start, I'd like to apologize to both Noctis and Rapha in advance for any mistakes I make. Please feel free to comment and correct me. Okay, let's go into the game. We're starting on Noctis spawning at the red armor. Now what's interesting to analyze here is what Noctis can tell about Rapha's spawn. If you listen closely, at the 3rd second you can hear Rapha jump. Now you can't exactly hear where the jump comes from, but there are only 3 possibilities. Rapha could have spawned at the rocket launcher somewhere, but then we would have heard the rocket launcher pickup. Or Rapha could be right above red, but there is not really any spawn that would lead Rapha to be above red. So what's left is Mega, and Rapha must have spawned at Mega. Now Noctis has a decision to make. He can either go for the LG and get the LG yellow, which would kinda leave him out of position for the next red, or he can go for the plasma yellow and get the rocket launch afterwards, which would leave him in center map, which is, I guess, the best position to defend the red. And this is what I would do. However, Noctis does go for the yellow again, but instead of going for the rocket launcher, he gets a shot and then tries to challenge Rapha in this corridor. Perhaps once in a while this might work out and you could do ridiculous amounts of damage, but usually rockets are a better weapon in this situation. And Rapha, being very experienced in dodging, doesn't have much of a problem countering this. Noctis is able to get the health bubbles in this LG room, but it's still a very ungrateful position to be in. To leave this room you can only either go upper or lower way, but both can be checked from where Rapha is right now. But Noctis knows that red spawns at 26 as he spawned in it initially, so he goes to the upper hallway at 29 hoping Rapha already left. So now Noctis can get the rocket launcher and he's actually not in too bad of a situation. He can get the yellow, hit some spam rockets and get the other yellow with a rocket jump. The rocket jump's really important because, as I said, you don't want to get stuck in this room. He moves to the plasma room, which has more escape routes and generally is a safer place to be. Noctis still has a time on the red, because it has been taken right after it spawned both times. He knows it's roughly about 55, 56. So now he just waits for Rapha to go for it, to take center map afterwards. Here he correctly predicted that Rapha would go to the mega area as it spawns in about 10 seconds, and he's able to hit some very good rockets. So now they're actually fairly even on stack, and I think Noctis actually has a little bit more, but he's hesitant to drop down on the mega. So Rapha just took mega and now goes to red. This gives Noctis a time on both items, and what's more important, he now knows that red will spawn right before mega the next time. Right now both yellows are up, and Rapha makes a really ballsy rocket jump for my waterfall, but he takes a lot of damage in the process. And now what's this? Noctis grabs the yellow and runs towards Rapha to cut him off the hallway, but he misses the stair jump which saves him from a trap set up by Rapha. But how did Rapha get there? It seems way too fast, doesn't it? Well, let's watch the rocket jump Noctis did one more time and listen very close. Heard that? They jumped at the same time and Noctis must have missed it. Anyway, Noctis drops down and waits at the teleporter. Remember, red spawns right before mega? So if Noctis sees Rapha take mega, he can go and drop for the red. If Rapha takes red first, Noctis can ambush him at the teleporter. Well, sometimes. He still hits 2 nice rockets. He hears Rapha rocket jumps up himself and hits another rocket. And now Noctis feels like he can push him for the frag. What can you say? Excellent frag. I especially like the plasma then catching Rapha strafing to the yellow. Noctis can now collect the red armor and move his way towards the rocket launcher. He must assume Rapha got the LG and the LG yellow, as those were the only items he left up. So Rapha's gonna have 100 health, 50 armor, and will look to get the rocket launcher. Which is why I feel right here Noctis acted a bit too much early. Players like to use the mega spawn as an opportunity to grab the rockets, so he missed a pretty good chance to set a trap by just standing there and LGing Rapha as he went for it. So now Noctis gets a red while Rapha is collecting both YAs. He heard Rapha jump across, so he knows he must be going to the LG yellow and back straight away to keep position in center map. Here Noctis does a nice move by doing the stair jump and slowing down instantly, which baits Rapha into shooting a prediction rocket. He then hears Rapha jump away and follows up with shaft. And there's another frag. However, I think Rapha made a big mistake here. He had just collected 2 yellows, so he had 100 armor at least. Next to him was a 50 house bubble, so Rapha had pretty much the same stack as Noctis, and the one hitting better shaft would have come out on top in the fight. By jumping away, he obviously made his dodging very predictable, and Noctis had an easy time hitting. After the frag, Noctis is able to pick up Mega and now Red. However, Rapha still has a Y-Ace on rotation. Right now there would have been an opportunity for Noctis to rocket jump to the LG yellow to deny it from Rapha, because Rapha is only just getting the rocket launcher and he would be too late to spam a rocket. But Noctis chooses not to, he just gets the red, gets the shots, and now has a full stack. With 15 seconds on the clock until anything spawns on the map, Noctis just tries to listen for Rapha. There he heard Rapha go through the teleporter, so he now knows his approximate location and can try to trap him. Here Rapha actually pulls a really nice trick. You can see the nades fly onto the yellow, which lures Noctis to go and check the area. At the same time Rapha drops down for the red and steals it successfully. Now Noctis is gonna pick the Mega, and he knows that the next item spawn is the LG yellow, which he's gonna go for in a second. Now Rapha has about 150 armor, Noctis himself has 200. So he doesn't have to worry about losing any armors, as the benefit to the player taking them is negligible. So he leaves the red up and tries to pick up the Rapha on the plasma again. It's an excellent move and extends his lead. So now red and Mega are spawning for Noctis and he runs to collect them. Again, it strikes me as odd that he doesn't check the rocket launcher, but this time Rapha doesn't go for it. At this point Rapha should have the LG and the LG yellow, so he's still way too weak to challenge Noctis. Noctis can just keep running the yellow, red and Mega route, because he knows they spawn in this sequence. Noctis is late for the yellow here, which in this case doesn't matter, because what Rapha is doing is he's waiting in between both yellows until Noctis goes for one of them to take the other. Now even though the red is up on its spawn point right now, Noctis leaves it up in favor of camping the upper corridor. He obviously risks losing the red, yet it is something you must do once in a while. Because if you went all the items instant they spawn, your opponent would know that whenever an item spawns, you can move around the map freely. At the same time, you of course can't pull this move very often, because then your opponent would adjust and just take the reds. So a good balance is needed. Here Noctis makes a nice move. He drops down to the lower level, which enables him to hear what Rapha does. And he hears Rapha go towards the shotgun, so he rocket jumps up and has no trouble throwing force frag. Rapha could have avoided this though, as Noctis dropping down was audible from Rapha's point of view, but perhaps you just didn't hear it, as the venues at big events can be quite loud sometimes. After this frag it would appear like Rapha goes on toes for a while. Everyone who has played against decent players on DM13 knows that you can't just go for rockets like this. And as if that wasn't enough, Rapha decides to just go at it again with just 50 armor and gives away 6 frags here. Now if I had shoutcasted this game, this is probably the point that you should start debating whether or not Rapha stood a chance in this. There are 4 minutes left, Noctis has full control over the map and a 6 frag lead. But Noctis wouldn't be Noctis if he didn't find a way to fuck this up, so let's see how he does it. Listen carefully right here. Noctis hears the sound of Rapha dropping down and assumes Rapha must be going into his direction, when in fact Rapha is at Noctis. So let's see what Noctis actually heard. If you couldn't make that out, it is actually the sound of Rapha landing from using the jump pad. I've actually checked this, and on the level Noctis is standing, there is no point from where you could hear the jump pad, but you'll always hear this very characteristic drop-down sound. This sound seems to seriously trip Noctis up. He still has way more armor and an OG, so he could have rocket jumped up and dealt a lot of damage to Rapha, possibly even killing him. This mistake is very significant, because not only does he miss out on a great chance to deal damage, he also leaves up both yellows, and subsequently doesn't go for the rest. So in about 15 seconds, Rapha went from having the plasma gun and 30 armor to 100-200 with all weapons, just because Noctis didn't rocket jump, which he probably didn't do because he got thrown off by the sound. So pretty unfortunate but game-changing moment right here. Obviously Noctis still looks pretty healthy. Until this exchange, where Rapha catches him with his back turned, and in an instant Noctis' situation turns very bad. He hung around this part of the map for the last 30 seconds, so he only really has a mega time.
Now instead of using this knowledge to move to the LG yellow while Rapha takes the Mega, he goes to challenge for it, and Rapha has no trouble doing so. In fact, Noctis could have possibly saved himself if he had rockets, but he ran past rocket armor without taking it just 10 seconds before the fight. So now it's Noctis' turn to play out of control. He hears Rapha below him and decides to go for the rocket launcher. Noctis needs to realize Rapha is 5 frags behind, so at this point he is going to use any chance to get a frag. And in this situation I think Noctis didn't even have enough LG ammo to possibly kill Rapha. It's pretty apparent that Noctis has put his focus on getting the rocket launcher. But how do you get the rocket launcher on Lost World? I would divide it into two scenarios. Let's start with Noctis' situation right now. He basically has no armor and would not stand a chance if it came to any fight. The only way for him to get rockets would be sneaking while Rapha is somewhere far away. This is extremely difficult because Rapha could be hiding somewhere around the area, baiting Noctis with a rocket launcher. So Noctis would have to listen, waiting for Rapha to go for the red armor, for example, and then run out and take it. A second scenario would be if Noctis had, say, collected 2 yellows and an LG. Now he would still lose in a fair fight, but if he entered center map while Rapha would be below him, Rapha would not be able to just rocket jump towards him anymore. So if Noctis had a decent enough stack, he could for example wait above Mega, where he's right now, until Rapha goes for Mega, and then run out and grab the rocket launcher. So if I was Noctis and I was looking for a strategy of what to do now, I would first try to collect 1 or 2 yellows and an LG preferably, and then go to the position he's in right now to the Mega, and wait for Rapha to go for it. So let's see what actually happened. Noctis did indeed wait for Rapha to take the Mega. He then ran out to take the rocket launcher and got LG down by Rapha, the rocket jumper. Before Noctis died, he could hear that Rapha took the red armor, and he now takes the yellow and rocket jumps away, presumably to the other yellow. So no item is going to spawn anytime soon, and Rapha is clearly going to go looking for Noctis. Now Noctis took the shots and escapes this fight successfully. And about now both Red and Mega are spawning, and at the same time Noctis sees Rapha go up the jump pad. With the weapons he has, he can only run away, he has no other choice. But he must realize he has no chance of getting the major items when Rapha is right behind him with LG. Yet he goes for the Mega, he even actually missed it as it was up. Didn't really matter though, because he would have died anyway. What he should have done right here is jump towards LG and get both LG and the LG yellow armor. Anyway, back to the game. Noctis gets a pretty unfortunate spawn. He's smart not to take the yellow, otherwise he would have been dead already. But now Rapha does an extremely risky rocket jump and he actually gets the frag. But Rapha had to take the risk. Yet Noctis really should have jumped for the last rocket. Now Noctis spawns knowing Rapha must be low, so he just takes a chance and goes for the rocket launcher. Finally gets it. He doesn't die as a bonus, so now he's got a rocket launcher, but he's still stuck in the LG room again. Now there's a minute left on the clock, and once Rapha has collected all items on the map, he will definitely go hunting for the frag. Now the question is, where will he check first? Probably the LG room just saw Noctis in. So if I was Noctis, I would be getting the fuck out of there. So of course it would have been dangerous, but he had to run out one way and hope Rapha takes the other. Now again, the only thing Noctis has is the timing on the Mega, as he saw Rapha stand on it a while ago. By the way, Noctis takes good use of the shots. If you think about it, the 4G armor he gets from them is almost a yellow armor, yet way safer to collect. Noctis now takes use of the fact that he played very passive out of control the last 3 minutes. He didn't try to steal any items, and now he decides to go for the Mega. And now with the Mega, he can defend himself for a change, and can finally make a push for the other yellow.
You have taken the lead.
Well, first of all you can see why he never went this way before, when he didn't have the Mega, cause without it he wouldn't have survived that fight for sure. But you can also see that Rapha's dodging was pretty predictable again. Against Plasma you can't try to deny the 50 health bubble which Rapha did, cause Noctis had a way easier time aiming at him. We're gonna watch the last seconds from Rapha's point of view because it's kind of funny. He spawns, takes a rocket launcher, rocket jumps to the yellow and rocket jumps again. Now if you add his health and armor, he has 101 on stack. The spawn is 125 health. So not only did he waste time, he actually damaged himself well done. Chances are it wouldn't have changed the outcome, but still a kinda bizarre move. Anyway, thank you to everyone who watched through all of this. This commentary video actually took a lot of time to make, so if I'm ever gonna do another one, I'd really need to see a lot of feedback, and please don't be shy, comment on his reality on YouTube, wherever you see this video. Thank you in advance. Bye bye.